Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud.
And Famous Dave.
And this is Double Agents, Episode 7, Die Another J. They double dipped with the title. Remember Dive Another Day was Episode 2? And now they're Die Another J.
Yeah, I'm like, that.
Don't do that. But
there's like 20 James Bond movies. Like, can we get like an Octa J or something? I don't know.
Someone did call him a pussy.
Yeah, Octafessy. That should have been an episode.
Okay, but titles, maybe this had something to do with it. Maybe they were like, no, we have to double dip because this is going to be the most watched episode of the season so far. 0.99.
Oh, they almost cracked the middle.
Yeah. So maybe, I don't know. I kind of felt, I didn't like the fact that his name was in the title. I was like, well, are they going to try and subvert our expectations and he wins the elimination? Because the whole time with that title, you're like, oh, Jay's screwed. He's going in, you know?
Yeah.
So that kind of hurt it in my eyes. I was going in there, I'm like, Jay, I like you, and I know now that you're gone, you know?
Well, here's the thing, is I didn't notice anything from it because I've learned not to look at the episode titles because there are always spoilers in them. Like, when I saw, like, oh, it's going to be a Teresa episode, like, I was upset. And while Teresa didn't go home, I still knew it was going to be centric around her. So I didn't want to know for this one. It's kind of nice to just watch the episode and see where it goes. Because, yeah, their titles are way too spoilery.
Yeah, but there's also, at the beginning of the episode, Teresa was like, hey, Jay, if you just lay low, new stories within the day overtake the narrative, and people are mad about that. And there was plenty of moments and plenty of situations where it could have done that, but it didn't. Jay still ends, spoilers, he's gone, you know? It really sucked. It had the chance to go different directions. Yeah.
I liked how Teresa said that. She's like, said something how like the time moves really fast in the challenge where like a day or two can be like a couple weeks and people will forget and they'll move on, which is true sometimes, but you also need like something to happen of note where people get distracted and look at that. And if nothing really meaningful happens, then you're SOL.
Like if Josh would have actually hit Devin instead of just shoving him, right? Stuff like that. Yeah, like that would have altered the course of the game. Yeah. Okay, well, let's start at the beginning. And, this is the big reason why the heat never really leaves Jay, because these people are mad. Leroy, Corey, and Kyle. They're just like, they're back at home, and they're like, Jay, we can't trust you. You would have put us two in there had it, we're just lucky that it wasn't a male elimination, And there's Leroy's like, oh my gosh, you're done, man. Like you're done, ski or whatever. He was really laying into him pretty hard, I felt. And he's like, oh, last time you were in there, you got knocked out, bro, and shit like that. I'm like, holy fuck, wow. Like this is some anger here. And it really sucks because, like, remember when we all thought Fessy was going to get burned at the stake after he went in against Nelson? That is nothing compared to what's happening to Jay, where everyone's like, fuck you. Even though Teresa comes in and is like, hey, stop it. That was me. And Leroy's like, I'm not tripping, but I'm just yelling at him. No, you are tripping. You yell at me, Teresa should have said, but it didn't happen. Leroy was just like, fuck you. My girl has a gold skull now, Yeah.
It didn't make any sense because, like, Jay didn't even really, he was just doing what his partner wanted. And he was kind of getting roped along with it. But it was a girls' elimination day. He wasn't risking Leroy or Corey or Kyle. Like, those guys weren't at risk. Everybody knew it was going to be a guys' day. There's very few episodes this season where we know that, but that past elimination, like, we knew it was going to be that. So for them to be upset about that, that's kind of just making up a reason to be upset.
Yeah, it's like they were out for him no matter what. This is just the best reason to do so. Kind of like how they told Wes, or they shouted out loud, they're like, hey, we're going to get rid of the veterans, when really they're like, we're going to get fucking Wes out of here. Because they're not going for the veterans anymore. You know? That was just something
to get rid of the
them.
people who have won before. And then now, like, Darrell and CT are just hanging out. They've never gone after them.
Right, yeah.
Yeah. And, like, that whole argument, it was weird because you just see, like, Corey and Kyle and Leroy yelling at Jay, and then it cuts to shots of Jay just standing there like, and Jay just never says anything. And I'm like, it feels like Jay must have said something, and they just edited it all out. Because you don't see anything. Like, he doesn't have any response, and it was like they edited it out.
Well, I mean, what he did respond to was very much just kind of like shrugging his shoulders. Like, well, in a sense, yeah, I was gambling you two, because that was, yeah, they latched onto that, Kyle and Corey. They're like, we could have went in against each other, so you were, but he's like, yeah, but that's not what happened. And there was a big chance, like he wasn't going into details. He was just, to me, it was kind of like he was taking his licks, because in the previous episode, when he looked at Teresa, he's like, we're in so much shit right now, I don't care. And I really believed him. So he's getting battered verbally, but he's just like,
yeah,
this is what I did, although Teresa did.
Yeah. He knows he can't, like, come up with an argument to, like, tell them wrong. So he's just like, yeah, I'm just going to take it. You can tell me whatever you want. And he's just going to take it. And he's like, I'm not going to try and piss you off anymore by arguing about it. So it is what it is.
We're going to skip past...
Is there any episode where Corey is not, like, super upset the day after? Like, at the beginning of every episode, Corey is offended by someone and, like, you put so-and-so in, I feel so betrayed. It's just like every time.
Okay, what you're asking is, when is Corey not being betrayed, right? I don't think Corey just gets upset for no reason. Like, I think people do fucking, betray him, for sure. Yeah. So that's what you want. You're just like, oh, when's Corey going to get it? It's not even something he's doing. He's just getting betrayed. Yeah.
I don't know. He's always blindsided by something, and it's like everyone saw it coming, Corey, but you.
Well, maybe he's a horse, and he's got those blinders on, man. He's got tunnel vision, right? Or nay. All right, moving on to the mission. It's called Aerial Takedown. And this is going to be, I don't know. It looks cool. The concept is kind of weird, though. I mean, it is kind of like, I don't know. If you're going to try and knock someone down, it's going to be against the person that's like right next to you, basically, right? It's kind of fucked up when you just get up and you're like, well, I guess I'll attack you now. I don't know. It was really weird. It's going to get worse because half of the population isn't going to participate in this particular mission, right?
Yeah.
And they're going to fail all of male kind. I'm like, whoa, easy. There were some people that tried here, okay? Jay tried to knock Leroy down. It didn't happen. Leroy's a big dude. But yet he gets dogged like everyone else who didn't try. Fuck that. And fuck TJ. I've realized that I just don't like TJ. Even when I'm like, let's see here. Whenever I diss TJ, it seems to piss people off or make them unsubscribe. But I'm like, I don't care. There's so many things about him. He's the face of the production. I don't like it.
He's just a figurehead, Vince. He's a puppet.
But
he's not making the decisions here.
I know, but like when he says like, welcome to my final, he fucking does that thing with his eyebrows. The only look he could pull off, it's terrible. Okay, moving on. Aerial takedown. Let's start off with the first female heat. Okay, let's just discuss what actually happens. It's between and this is actually how they fall. Anissa, Big T, Cam, Nany, and Casey wins. What do you think of this first heat? Because this was action packed.
I I was a little questionable on how it was going to work and if it would be good. And then after this first heat, I was like, yes, this is awesome. They're trying, they're pushing each other off. This is great. I'm like, I really can't wait until the guys heat to see what happens. Like, great job of the women. They did awesome. But then, and then you get to the second heat and then you see like, oh, they're afraid to do anything.
You know what I noticed? Go on.
I was going to say, it kind of reminded me of that mission at the beginning where they had to like swim in the water out to that ship, and they had to get like those pills, and then they had to bring them back and put it into a certain person's box with their name on it, and nobody wanted to offend anyone else. So they all would kind of stand there and decide who they're going to vote for. It was like they were avoiding playing the game because they're too afraid to offend anyone and get on someone's bad side. And that's what this was. They're all hanging in the air and they're like, well, I don't want to try and knock someone off because they'll get angry at me.
Right. But not this first heat. This first heat was a lot of fun, like you said.
Yeah.
It was cool to see them try and stuff. Also, though, the helicopter would just kind of go rogue for a second and make the shit drop in the water, and everyone would like shake and some people would fall off. They didn't do that for the men. Notice that. They just DQ'd them. They were just like flying and they're like, DQ. But I'm like, no, start dropping them. Go hardcore dropping them, right?
Yeah. I wonder how much you can do that. Because like with a chopper holding something like that, like any bit of disturbance with a chopper being that low to the ground, like it's dangerous. Like that chopper could go down. So I don't know. It could be something to do with the weight of the people on there and how heavy it is. I don't know. They don't want to risk it having a nosedive.
Let's go on to male heat number 1, what a gross sentence. But so participating in this one is Kyle, Fessy, Darrell, Nam, and Devin. And by participating should be in quotes, right? They all just kind of float there. I was surprised that some of these people that did just this, like Darrell, Nam, I could see the other ones kind of like, oh, it's strategy and shit. Like Kyle and Fessy and Devin. It sounds like something those three would do. But Nam and Darrell, there was a thing. Have you heard about this? About like how they were like, no, this was strategy where we were gonna try and pull something off, and you'll hear more about it in the reunion and shit like that. Did you hear anything about that?
No.
Okay. All right. You believe it?
How?
I don't know. See, I wish they would have said. Like, well, we were working for this particular person to win or something. Like, narrow it down, but it's all been very vague. Like, no, that was part of the plan, because they're gonna get like some shit online. There's gonna be some ex-football player who like said something, tagged all the men that didn't participate in this tweet. And he's like, you guys aren't men, you're boys, or something like that, And like some came back and said things. Nam was like, yeah, I know, I totally, like, I suck, But Devin was like, yeah, well, what about that time you missed the football or something like that, Like some people were like,
remember the time you fumbled on the 4-yard line?
So that's awesome. This kind of. Yeah, this was a thing. There was also an article where like the headline was just like, men disappoint the world or something like that. I'm like, dude, Jay tried. You can't just rope everybody in there. Just, if you're going to do that, don't say men. Just name those names. Kyle, Fessy, Darrell, Nam, and Devin. Who else? CT and Josh. Mechie, whatever, he fell off, so he doesn't count because he fell off, right? But Jay, he was trying to knock Leroy down. So
yeah, he was like trying to get on his back and stuff too.
Yeah, exactly. So Leroy and what did I just say? Jay should be, and Mechie should be off the list of like pathetic men, disappointing men, you know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. Like, I just feel like there's a big backlash, but just like with the exception of these three. I don't know. Yeah.
I I don't care. Like it's not even. I don't even fault the guys for this. I fault production because anytime we have this in other challenge seasons too, where remember, it might have been one of the Rivals seasons or something where you had to like I think Wes and C it might have been Rivals too, where they're on the beach and you had to like strap yourself where you're almost like in a 69 position where the guy's crotch is in your face and then you have to like run a course, and like Wes and CT were like, no, we're not doing it. And then I think like Preston and Knight are like, no, we're not doing it. And then you know, there's plenty of people who just didn't want to do it because they thought it was humiliating. These people don't want to do it because they don't want to like ruffle any feathers in the house for the vote. But like, you need to make it an incentive. Production needs to give an incentive. So there needs to be, you know, $3,000 from P3 or something going to the winner. So people are trying. Or when you just have like the structure of the episode or of every episode be where like the winner is safe from the vote. And then the last place automatically goes in or something like that, where it gives you a built-in incentive to actually participate.
Yeah, it's very true. Well, there is a disciplinary action later, though, much later, after all the votes were tallied and all the fucking dialogue in the what's it called, deliberation. Only afterwards, that's when TJ's like, guess what? All you men who disappointed me and made me look so foolish out there on the beach, none of the votes count. But it didn't fucking matter, man. Oh my gosh. It's so, again, I said this before we started recording. I told you, I was like, I didn't like this episode. I was like, when you told me, he's like, Dave's like, I can't record until Tuesday. I'm like, all right, fine. That's longer. I don't have to talk about the episode because I'm like, I didn't really care for it. So, but here we are.
Yeah. The episode's fine. I don't know. It's middle of the road for me. But them not counting the votes, I mean, it was great just because, you know, we've had like 3 months of election drama here in the U.S. So for TJ to come out and say like, well, certain people's votes don't count, it was just like, all right, this is hilarious.
I didn't think about that. Wow. Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's terrible.
And you know, like either whether you're red or blue, like you can say that like this happened to your side. You know, like, oh, you mailed in your vote doesn't count. Or you can be like, oh, you know, like your vote didn't count because you voted for Trump or something. I don't know.
I needed strong supporters of Leroy and Casey harassing and intimidating the challengers on their way to the little booth, you know, the chamber to make their vote. And some of them were like, I'm not gonna, fuck that, and they walk away.
No, but that was Teresa. That was Teresa trying to influence all the people like, hey, just jump off, let me win. And then Gabby is like, no, I don't want to vote for you.
No. Okay, well, let's get into that. Okay, so before this happens, Teresa's talking to all the girls. They're like, sometimes you win and sometimes you gotta lose because overall, what are we trying to do here? In a way, Teresa, no, not in a way, for certain, Teresa always comes in with a plan. She always has a scheme, right? But that sounds bad. That sounds bad calling it a scheme, but she does have some sort of idea, a plan. She is always working that way. So what she's saying is basically, because a lot of these girls are rookies, right? Teresa has been in the middle of rookies and the veterans. Who did Teresa make a clear shot at? The fucking veterans with Ashley and Cam. So this right here with the rookie women, everything kind of goes well except for fucking Ashley B. She's just like, no, I want to challenge myself. But really, maybe Teresa should have legit said, listen, if we all work together, the rookies can defeat the veterans like what we've been doing. You know, I am on your side. But that didn't happen. And eventually I think everyone kind of dropped off. It was Amber M, then Lolo, Gabby, and Amber B just kept wrestling with Teresa for 1 second longer than Casey and Nani.
Allegedly 1 second. I don't believe any of these times. All of these missions this year, it all just comes down to the stopwatch. And it was like, oh, CT beat Jay holding on to his partner by 5 seconds. And it's like, yeah okay, sure. I believe you.
we mentioned before. Yeah, we mentioned before having winners of heats go against each other like they did in Battle of the X's 1. That was the best way to solve that problem.
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. Oh, okay. So, but Teresa, was saying that stuff before they get onto the thing of luggage or whatever that's getting pulled up there. That's when Cam is going to Leroy and she's like, hey, I heard that Teresa's trying to get people to like do things her way or whatever. And she's on the confessional, and I'm not going to do the impersonation of Cam because I realize that I could be labeled a hater if I do. But Cam basically says, oh, I hate the fact that no, I will do an impersonation of Cam, but in her first season appearance. So I voted just very plain. Almost sounds like me. She's like, it's kind of messed up that Teresa's going around trying to gather people to do what she says. I mean, people should learn to think for themselves. But I'm like, pause the button, show the tape of episode 2 when Wes and Natalie are like, they're about to go into that water thing, and Cam is going around saying like, hey, let's put in Wes and Natalie first. She's going around getting numbers. It's the same thing, Cam, So I don't know. I just wanted to call out the BS there. Yeah.
Calling out the hypocrisy that is Cam.
Yes.
But Cam is legit running this house. She is like large and in charge, and everybody's kind of doing her thing. Like there's other alliances for sure, but Cam seems to be the most powerful person there.
Absolutely. What do we got here? Oh, Male Heat. Oh, yeah, who gives a shit? Male Heat number 2, we already kind of covered it. Mekhi actually does fall, but everyone else stays there. Jay tries to go against Leroy, but everyone DQs. And then overall, Casey beat Teresa, like we said, by 1 second. That's it. Are we ready to go on to the club? Which is everything just gets better from here, Dave, and much more exciting. Are you ready?
Wait, this was the exciting, fun part of the episode. Yes. Kind of just.
Did you notice?
We get to see Devin's ass later, so there's something.
He did press ham. That's true. Did you notice in the dome that it was cold? You could see, like, when one shot of Teresa, and you could see her breath. How that is so lame. That is so. If I was them, I'd be like, can we just party in the house? Why do we got to go out to this fucking bar? Yeah, fuck that. Go drinking in the cold. Although, what is it? Alcohol makes you feel warmer, right?
Yeah. that's why Fessy was getting lit. He was just like, it's cold in here. Can't handle it.
Oh, yeah, that's right. And that's when Devin is like, hey, Fessy, we all wanted you to lose. There's really nothing too insulting about that, really. I don't know. But to Fessy, he's like, what? You don't want me to win? And he's just like getting mad and shit. And it's so outrageous. It's so outrageous that Josh tries to step in and be the voice of reason for as long as he can.
Yeah, they're like, Devin is just trying to push your buttons. He's just trying to get a rise out of you. That's it. And it's like, well, yeah, no shit. That's legit all he's ever done on any season is he just pushes buttons.
No, yeah. I will disagree.
Remember when he did it against Bananas? And he
that was something else. That was something else. I'm surprised at you, Dave. If we could go back to that video, I would show like the subtleties of the emotions and the dynamics and stuff like that. But because Devin was getting revenge from when Bananas was doing that to him on Rivals 3. I don't know if you remember that, where he legitimately like shoved Devin away, and like him and his cousin Vinny were just pointing at him like, ha 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 ha, like that obnoxious, because they knew they could do that to Devin, and where was security? No security for them. No security for Bananas. You know what I mean? So I don't know. This is all terrible. This is all horrible.
I'm not saying
I hate
it was
this
the
episode.
exact same situation, Vince, but I'm saying that we've seen Devin push people's buttons before, and he's really good at it, and it never seems to fail. Like, if he's trying to push your buttons, he's going to succeed.
Well, I think
even if they know
that isn't just. Like, go ahead. That isn't just this season, really. Compared to like, okay, he did that to Bananas, but he was only on there for like 3 episodes, right? Or 4 episodes because he was with Corey, right? And that was him getting revenge on Bananas because he's like, what the fuck? What's up with you? And he was like following him around and shit. And that's when Bananas like, at least I have a father that's alive or something like that, right? Remember that? Yeah, because Devin, he was just like, my father just passed away, like days ago or something like that.
I thought Banana said something like, yeah, it's a good thing your father's not around to see you acting like this or something like
shit. But I'm saying up until that point, Devin really, I don't think he really did that. I think this is more of a new Devin on this season in particular.
I disagree. I feel like this is more of the same for Devin.
Really? Wow. Okay. Well, maybe I was blind to it. But it's just not a good look for him. I don't like it. I mean I do like that it's against Fessy and Josh, the dumbest fucking meatheads in the house. But I don't really care for it though.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely like this season. He's done it like 3 times now, where everyone's drinking and he's just playing instigator. So it's definitely way more this season than in the past. But it's funny because even though Fessy and Josh are completely being toyed with, they still can't help but get upset. Like, it's just like, it just doesn't stop. And they're just like, I just want to punch the shit out of this guy. And like, I thought there was legit going to be a fight. I don't know. But all of a sudden there's just security everywhere. All these guys in masks and they're just holding everyone back. And it was just like, oh, come on, just let them fight. If they fight,
it did get physical.
Yeah, because Josh pushed Devin down. And in seasons past, people have gotten voted off for that. Or not voted off, but kicked off for that.
And remember, what did Josh do previously on the same season? He punched the side of a building like 4 or 5 times. And now he shoves someone. And TJ will be like, that's a warning. Come on, dude. A warning after all that? It's pretty messed up. Although I do think that there should be a special case. And they would have to get like lawyers involved and shit. But they're like, did Devin provoke Josh enough? You know what I mean? Like those sort of things. Like, because a lot of like fucking remember when Turbo got expelled? It's because Jordan was egging him on, Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, so I think they should have both been expunged, Dave.
Yeah.
Production.
And now they had to kick Turbo off because Turbo couldn't be held back by like 4 security guards. Like,
so
security guards are like, we're not coming into work if Turbo's there. He's too much to handle. Don't bring this guy back.
Yeah, their egos couldn't handle it. They're like, whoa, we couldn't. What are we? Well, like, what good were we until we met Turbo? Jesus Christ. Okay, well, Josh shoves Devin. Okay, let's get on to deliberation where this is the time when like Teresa tries to throw CT under the bus in a certain way, which was kind of true though, right? Like, what happened? Did CT go spreading the rumor of her trying to go after Darrell? Or what? Like, how do you think that it went down?
Yeah, I mean, that's basically what seemed like happened. They had breakfast, and Teresa, I forget exactly what they were saying, but she was talking about, like, if I'm going to go after somebody, I want to, like, she just got rid of Ashley. She wants to get rid of people who she thinks can win a final. And then they were talking about guys and what guys are there who could do really well in a final. Well, it's CT, who she's sitting across from, and then Darrell. So she's like, it might need to Darrell is one of those guys that we might need to try and get rid of as a very strong competitor. And like she said Darrell, CT also says Darrell. Or I forget, maybe CT said it first. But they
I
both
thought
mentioned
CT said it first.
I think you might be right.
Yeah. This is like, who shot first in Han Solo, the special edition? Yeah. Like No, I really think it was CT who mentioned it first. So does that mean that CT mentioned it and knew that people were hating on Teresa? So he spread this rumor that she wanted to get Darrell out, because that's how Teresa was like. As soon as she heard it from Ashley B, she was like, she sat up straight. She's like, I only talked about Darrell to one fucking person. She's like, if I ever lie, it's not now. It's this CT. So that was interesting part where CT is like, I'm just gonna deflect, and you know what I mean. He's like, yeah, I might have said it, but I'm not gonna admit it now. Like, fuck that. So I don't know. I felt bad for Teresa because they really do alienate you. If I was on there and I pissed someone off, and all of a sudden the whole house is like, fuck Vince, I would feel terrible. I don't know. Being ostracized like that is really shitty. You wanna if you're so concerned about someone's mental health, security should come in during that time wearing their masks, like, hey, invite her on the game. Stop making her feel so different.
Yeah,
ask her how she's
being bullied. Where's the anti-bullying campaign? Everyone in the house is against her, and Jay is being bullied too.
Okay.
And also, Devin is a big bully because he was bullying Josh and Fessy. I think CT definitely did his same thing that he always does, where he just deflects and he's just like, and everyone is just totally cool with it. And it blows my mind because, like, I see how, like, the girls don't want to go after CT because they would want him as a partner in a final. But the guys, I don't know. Like, I guess, like, maybe Darrell just thinks that he can beat CT in a final, or like Kyle, I guess maybe thinks that. But like, I can't believe that like Josh or Fessy or like Devin, like, they shouldn't think they're going to be able to beat CT in a final. They do need to go after him at some point. But like, CT does this thing every season where he just flies under the radar. And it works seamlessly every time. It blows my mind how good he is at it and how everyone just goes along with it. It's amazing.
Yeah, he's definitely become like the, Mitch McConnell's a bloated old politician. It's like, well, you see, if you vote me in the elimination, you never know, I might win. And we'll see where we have to go from there. In court, like, it's just like
somebody calls him out on bullshit, and then people are like, "Yeah, that's bullshit," but like, whatever. They just forget about it 2 seconds later. Nothing ever happens.
Okay,
also, I'd like to mention that CT was wearing this very T-shirt on the episode, really? And I was like, in honor of CT, I am busting out my MTV '80s themed T-shirt to wear on the podcast. Yeah.
Oh shit. Okay. Okay. Well, in honor of Amber M, I'll have a smile, beautiful smile. That's what she wore as well. Okay. Let's talk about the bunker. So
get a home run every time. Sometimes you strike out.
Leroy and Casey show up to see the compromised agents, and it's Jay and Teresa. So yeah, it's the title gave it away. Basically, we knew they were going to go in somehow, right? Okay, so this is interesting because this is Leroy and Casey's second win. Let's remember, the first time they were like, I don't know how much information I want to tell my partner. I don't know even to discuss what we're going to do. You know what I mean? Like, it was all just very like, I don't know. This is kind of the same a little bit. I guess I want to jump towards the end because Leroy chooses to stay with her. And I was really surprised. I don't know about you. Like, I didn't think I didn't think he was going to take Cam. I think they both want to run against each other because at least that's a 50-50 shot, or you know what I mean, like a better chance of one of them winning. So,
and also they could work together in the final, where if they have an opportunity to screw over a third team, they could.
Right. Yeah, for sure. Well, I mean, I think that's what happened with Bananas and Vinny and Blood something. Bloodlines. I just think that the idea was Vinny to slow Jenna down so that for sure Bananas and Sarah will win. You know what I mean? Like, they probably would have won, but Vinny for sure was just like, I'm just going to slow my ass down because Jenna's a good competitor. And I'm just going to let my cousin for sure win because then he can make the damning decision to keep all the money and not me. You know what I mean? It's like, I don't even like being on TV. Yeah. Where are we? Okay, so Jay and Teresa, right? Let's talk about the votes. I kind of always have to mention this because sometimes it makes sense. These are all the teams. Mackie and Amber M, that's fine. Kyle and Cam, they don't always vote with each other, I noticed. Devin and Gabby, Darrell and Amber B, they've voted with each other the entire time. Big T and CT. And then Anissa and Corey are not with anybody. They voted by themselves. Okay, so let's go on to the elimination, man. We're getting to the end.
One thing I wanted to mention, maybe this is all in my head, but when TJ was saying like, okay, not everybody participated, and we're gonna like all the male votes, they don't count. Like when he said not everyone participated and there's going to be like punishment for that, what I thought was going to happen was the fact that the winning team was Casey and Leroy. Well, let's not forget that one person there, Leroy, did not try to knock anyone off. He just stood there. So I thought TJ was going to disqualify Casey and Leroy because one of the two people, Leroy, didn't attempt to try. I thought he was going to disqualify them as winners, and then they were going to say, Jay, you attempted to try, and Teresa, you attempted to try. You had the next best time. Jay and Teresa, you guys are winning. And I thought it was going to be something like that, and I was so excited.
Okay, the only thing is, though, is that you can't say Leroy didn't try. He was on defense. He was, in fact, participating. You know, you can't take that away from him because he was, you know, like he really didn't do much. Just basically, if in the UFC, Jay had him against the cage the whole time. You know what I mean? He's got him in the clinch.
I guess. But like, you know what I mean? Leroy could have at least tried to push him off a little bit more.
I agree. He was just, like, I totally
holding
agree.
on. I don't know.
I got you. I'm not giving. I'm not giving Leroy any points at all. I'm just saying he did participate, right? So okay. What else? Oh, okay. So we already talked about TJ's like, hey, stop fighting. This is the last warning. When really Josh should be out of there, possibly Devin, for instigating a second time now. You know. TJ says that the men who we already talked about that. DQ'd votes. Compromised agents are still Jay and Teresa. I think TJ's just wanted more screen time. Like, I really am angry. Like, fuck off. You know?
Well, it's just them like, well, this is pretty obviously bad. We have to try and acknowledge it in some way. And then if we can edit it in, then we'll put it in. But if not, we'll leave it out. I think they kind of record some stuff just to have it on file in case they want to put it in the episode.
Yeah, I mean, we kind of touched on it earlier. Like, if they really wanted to make it count, don't let them go into deliberation or in the chamber to make votes, you know, for sure. That would make sense. But they're just like, hey, guess what? None of your votes counted. And they're like, does that change anything? And he's like, no, but I just like to yell. Yeah. I'm better at yelling at people than comforting them. That is exactly true about TJ. He's known more about like ripping quitters to shreds than saying like, Godspeed. Hey, you're a human being. I'm a human. We're all human beings here. Like this is just a show. Come on. He's way better. Like fuck you. I ride a bike sometimes. You know what I mean? Like get the fuck out of here. Yeah.
Yeah, it's very bizarre that they're like, oh, I'm gonna throw out all the votes, but it doesn't affect the count in any way. So what was the point of throwing out the votes? It seems like that was the only reason they threw out the votes, is because they knew it wasn't going to change anything.
Stop the steal, right, Dave?
Stop the count. Stop the count.
Okay, let's get off of that. Leroy, we have a first. Leroy is the first winner, first double agent to volunteer to go in. That's pretty cool, right? We do have a repeat though. It's going to be Fire Escape, but we'll get into that later. Hold on. Okay, first of the season. TJ. Oh yeah. So Leroy's like, yeah, I want to go in, right? And Casey's like, yeah. And they go down there. There's no suspense. TJ's like, well, it is for the men. He didn't do that whole thing like, do you really want to volunteer? Because you never fucking know.
Oh yeah, I didn't think of that because it's like some episodes they play that up like, oh, we don't know what's gonna happen, and then other episodes are just like, oh.
Yeah. Okay, so it's Fire Escape. We've seen this before in the first episode, the very first elimination that didn't matter.
It was Natalie versus Ashley, and then Ashley loses. She kind of gets destroyed, but then Ashley comes back because Natalie
because Natalie has to drop out. They're like, well, yeah. It's like you never existed, Natalie, so you never would have took out Ashley. Some definitely, retconning going on.
Yeah, definitely rewriting history. That's really big nowadays.
So this fire escape thing is 3 times as long, right? And they have like 3 humps in the middle of it instead of just the one hump.
3 times.
And it's, yeah, I think that's what they said. I think he said like 3 times as long.
I thought it looked the same to me.
If you want to impress Dave, actually set the thing on fire, like they said before. Remember, Button said it's like a bar that's like 3 or 4 feet above them that's on fire. Remember that?
Well, what they should have done is they should have made it, instead of it being a flat bar, it should have had dips in it, like not just like the little humps where you have to get over. It should go down, and then it should go up, and then it should go down, and then up. So that way you have to like go up and then down. It would have made it a little bit more challenging.
Right. Yeah. No. Yeah. I totally agree. What we do get isn't that bad. It's Leroy against Jay. Leroy is like, that's his thing. Elimination. That's where he shines the most.
That's true. But Jay is a rock climber, and he has great grip strength. And when Leroy volunteers himself to go down, and I already know what it is, and I'm seeing you going against Jay, I'm immediately thinking like, Leroy, don't do this. This is a terrible mistake. Like, Jay is the last person probably. Like, Jay and Darrell are the last 2 people you want to do this against.
Ooh, and I like that. Okay.
Like, I just thought it was a terrible idea by Leroy to go down. It seems like it's tailor-made for like Jay, a smaller guy who's got good grip strength. He's got good core. Just because you're hanging the way you are, I figured the more you weigh, it's going to slow you down more. But I was wrong. I was totally wrong.
And Leroy's like way longer than Jay is, so he's able to fucking throw those ropes up like a good 2 feet longer or something, like something crazy like
helps.
that. So even though I was rooting for Jay, I was like, that's a pretty impressive performance by Leroy. I was like, holy shit, just like overtime.
It was easily the most impressive thing that Leroy has ever done. It was phenomenal. Like, just watching it, they even edited it to make it look like, to draw it out. But like, Leroy went back and forth in all of like that. I think TJ said in less than a minute. Like, that shit was like less than 20 seconds. Like, it was just bam and bam. Like, Leroy was shot out of a cannon. It was incredible. And like, even like Jay's reaction, like, he's like, I I thought I did awesome, but like, and he still lost. He's like, somehow Leroy was just that fast.
And he did do awesome. Like, Jay, yeah, they were both really fast. If Jay would have went against someone else, maybe Jay would have won. You know what I mean? Like, that's just how they were both great performances. It kind of reminded me of, remember Gauntlet 2 with Adam versus Alton? And they had to climb up that netting and grab the flag. And they both did it insanely quick. It was just like lightning speed. And just Alton just happened to be quicker. You're like, well, it sucks. Adam should be allowed to stay. Like, just look at the performance, Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, I like how they edited it, where right at the end, Leroy, he kind of like double takes with where he's throwing his arms to like get over that little hump, and then they replay that like 3 or 4 times, so it appears like he's struggling and he's getting hung up right at the end. But then he just goes like this and just wins it. And it was like, oh, like, you guys just showed that same little loop like 4 times in a row. He wasn't actually struggling.
Okay, so Leroy, he gets a skull. Jay's gone. Jay, I hope you come back. I'm a fan. I like him.
Yeah, I like Jay a lot too. And it's like, I want to say that like everything that went bad for Jay was basically Teresa's fault, right? Just because, and it's like not even like Teresa's fault, but the fact that nobody likes Teresa, and by association, nobody likes Jay because he's with Teresa.
What a weird way to discipline someone, to go after their partner. You know what I mean? Or they were like, well, Jay's a good enough competitor, might as well take away her great partner. But like, if you can change, I don't know. I guess I really didn't get all the hate and all the, it was just, maybe it was just an excuse. They're like, we're going to go against Jay. And Leroy was like, I'm going to go against Jay in elimination, Yeah, there you go. Let's talk about Leroy getting his skull, and he gets to choose if he wants to change. We already mentioned this. He stays with Casey. I don't know. I really thought that they didn't have enough trust with each other at first. But now I'm like, well, maybe that was just them trying to paint a picture of Ed, what is it called? When
adversity?
Trouble. Yeah, yes, thank you. Adversity. And when really both Casey and Leroy end up winning together. You know what I mean? It's kind of like Sarah and Jordan, where they went back and they were like, they showed these little arguments where like, it wasn't that bad, but they really focused on it. Just kind of like, see, they didn't get along forever. And then they made it work. Yeah. So maybe that's something. I don't know. Yeah. But again, I thought the same thing was with CT and DM, but they didn't end up. Like, they repaired the relationship, but they didn't win.
Yeah. Yeah, I felt like with Leroy staying with Casey, it was a smart move because I think Casey is probably the best female there. Like, it should be Lolo, but like Lolo kind of just disappoints every time. And like, I really thought Lolo was just going to be a beast, but I don't know. Like, in a hall brawl, I'll pick Lolo, but when it comes to literally anything else, I just don't feel like Lolo is that great. So like Casey, I've never seen a bad performance out of her. She's always finishing amongst the tops for the girls. And also, like, strategy-wise, it helps Leroy to stay with her because Casey is basically like the head of the Big Brother side of the house. So with Casey, Fessy, and Josh, all those Big Brother people, it keeps Leroy having tabs on that side of the house. They can work together as well. So that way Cam's alliance and then the Big Brother alliance can kind of merge and work together. So it makes sense.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like Tori's gone. All these women where I'm like, oh man, these are top hitters and prospects and shit. But there's only Cam, which he cannot. It's a good plan. Don't get with Cam. Run with each other. Then there's Casey now, and then Lolo. She's got the power, but like I don't think she's a good partner for anyone really. Yeah. I feel bad for Nam. Nam sometimes shows up. He's wearing sunglasses. I'm like, what's up with the sunglasses indoors, bro? He takes it off. There's a fucking bruise.
Now he's just crying. Poor Nam. Nam. I'm surprised Nam hasn't gone home just from like not enjoying himself there, because I just don't feel like he's enjoying himself at all.
You think he's gonna be the next guy? It's like, TJ, I am not the. Oh, that's a terrible impersonation. He's like, TJ, I also miss the outside world. I'm out of here too. TJ's like, that's great. You're so courageous. You're so courageous just saying that you're uncomfortable. So God bless. You know what I mean? And then everyone else is like, maybe we should just get the fuck out of here. You know? It's not even worth it. Yeah.
They're like, the whole world is in a quarantine, yet we chose to quarantine inside of a quarantine, like double quarantine. Like, this is a bad idea. We all want to go home.
Yeah, really. Yeah. Okay, well, the last thing I have to mention, so Libra saves with Casey, that's fine. And then Teresa, Jay's gone, right? But she receives the residential, what would you even call Corey? He's a placemat holder. He's something temporary. What would you call that? I don't know. He's a disposable camera. He gets passed on from woman to woman. What do women use that are extremely disposable?
He's the resident boy toy. He just gets passed around. He's like a doorknob. Everyone gets a turn.
Well, yeah, but it'd be different if he actually was sleeping with these people. But they're just like, hey, Corey, now we're we're working together. What's that? We didn't win. Fuck. Well, I'm going into elimination now. He might be cursed, Dave. He might be cursed.
Yeah, Corey this season, he's almost like he's like that temporary job you get, like in between jobs, where it's like, oh shit, I lost this job that I had, that it was a good job, and I'm looking for a new job, but I'm gonna get this, this job that I don't really care for, doesn't pay well, doesn't perform that well, kind of whines a lot about being offended and being targeted a lot. And then hopefully I can get something better, but this is, it's a placeholder.
Yeah, he's the rebound. He's the stepping stone. Yeah.
He's like the halfway house to freedom, like you didn't go home, so, but your consolation prize. So you don't have to go to prison, you don't have to go home, but you'll get Corey, who's just, it's not freedom, but you'll get an opportunity down the line.
Yeah, those are that all sounds like lyrics that were cut from that one song, "Closing Time." They're like, you don't gotta leave, but you got you
stay here.
Stuck here with this.
What's gonna happen when, like, if Corey goes into elimination and Corey wins? Like, I just want to see the look on the face of the person who gets picked by Corey, because like Corey has had the opportunity to test drive all of these partners. Like, which one is he gonna like the most? Like, who does he want to stay with?
Yeah, but that's different because all his partners are gone. It's one thing to like test drive and like, I didn't like that. Like, I didn't like that, so I threw it in the river, or I fucking put it, I set it on fire. It is kind of horrifying. I'm sure. Like, how many partners has he had now? 5. Who was first? Tori. She's gone. Natalie. Ashley. And now Teresa. Yeah. Holy shit. Yeah. Well, you know what, though? That sort of shit happens sometimes. Remember Free Agents? Johnny Riley, he was always saved in the random draw for elimination. They're like, you lucky motherfucker, every single time. I think that's just going to be Corey. Exactly. So I think we could expect Corey in the final, and no women want to fucking play with him. They're like, no, you're like that tape from the ring.
Wouldn't that be hilarious if Corey gets stuck with Anissa in the final? Like, Fessy ends up beating somebody, and then he chooses whoever, and then Anissa's got to pick Corey.
Oh, geez. Yeah. Oh, my gosh. And they slept together once before. Let's not forget that little
Oh,
gem.
did you notice that hilarious thing that Corey said this episode, where he's like, or no, it wasn't this episode. It was a couple episodes ago, actually. But Corey's like, when Anissa beat Tori to win in that elimination, Corey's like, yeah, hopefully these people won't stop lying on Anissa because she's a real threat. And I'm just like, yeah, Corey knows something about lying on Anissa.
I did hear that, and I think I elbowed Noah next to me. I'm like, I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. There's only two of us now in the world, Dave and I, who give a shit about the challenge.
I noticed it, and I was like, oh, that's hilarious.
All right, man. Well, you know what? That's the end of the episode, and you know, it wasn't my favorite, but it was the most viewed. Who knows? Maybe this thing's going to gather steam, and I'm going to hate it the more it does, and the more views. So maybe that's just how this shit works. So, like, subscribe, comment. This was Battle of the Challenges podcast with Vincent Cloud,
Famous Dave.